Hi guys, welcome to XtraTalk, a very nice talking channel today with a Roma fan today, all the way from Jersey, right?
Yep, that's exactly right.
Hi Wayne, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm really excited for this tie. I mean, Ajax is a team. I've been to the stadium before. I've spent time in Amsterdam. I love the way Ajax plays. I know that they are the big boys in Holland, but I'm looking forward to this one. This is probably, if I could have pictured the prettiest football match, it would have been Roma Ajax. So let's do it.
Yeah, man, we have a lot to talk about. And of course, everybody knows Sahbi. Sahbi, welcome.
Thank you, Juan.
All right, guys, I'm going to start right off the bat with Wayne. Wayne, listen, we were all, of course, looking to the draw, what might happen. And there were a couple of tricky ones in between, like from our standpoint, but also from your situation with Roma. We had Manchester United, we had Arsenal. I thought Villarreal also was a little bit tricky, to have. But at the end, we're playing you guys, and you guys are playing us. So what was your first reaction when you saw the draw?
I was nervous most about drawing Manchester United, and I thought Arsenal were the black horse in the race because I don't trust them. I think they have a so-so record. I know they're struggling a little bit in the EPL, but I don't trust that because they have the players. If you look at them player for player, they're a very strong team. But when it came to Ajax, I remember just feeling like energized, or I was just pumped up. I was like, oh, let's do this, Ajax, because I know what they're about. But at the same time, I know this is not the same Ajax of De Jong and when Dolberg was putting in goals left and right. I know the team has changed a little bit. Huntelaar is ancient at this point, a player I used to love. Daley Blind, he's also older, and it's a new generation. And I don't think that this generation of Ajax is probably ready for Roma. I think they're a great team, but I'll take my boys on this one.
Sabi wants to react on that one.
Totally disagree with you. Obviously, Ajax. Once I knew that we were getting to play against Roma. First of all, I was a bit excited. I mean, Roma, it's a big name, especially in Italy. But then again, I thought, well, Roma is kind of attacking, playing. They have an attacking style of football, and that suits us. So I would be unhappy if it would be playing against a team that plays defensive football. So I see definitely some chances against Roma. And what you mentioned with regards to this is not the same team as in 2019 when we had De Jong, Ziyech, etc. I agree with you on that, but taking that into account, we now have a huge squad, a qualitative squad. We're more of a team now. At first, in 2019, if De Jong or Ziyech was injured, we could see bad games. We could see games that get lost, etc. Now we are more of a team. We got a huge squad. If one player is injured, we got another player on the bench who could easily take over that role. And taking that into account, also the gameplay of Roma, where I do see that they lack a lot of defensive quality, especially on the wing backs. I mean, come on, Karsdorp. I don't even want to talk about him. But the center backs, I think they lack a bit of quality, and they conceded a lot of goals this season, an average of 2 goals a game. And us being unbeaten since January, playing great football, scoring a lot of goals, having not conceded a lot of goals, I think we can do this. I'm quite confident that we were able to advance to the next round.
Wayne, I'm going to give you that. So go ahead, buddy. Just defend yourself now. Let's go.
To be fair, the reason why Ajax has won every game since January is because you're the biggest fish in a small pond. In Italy, we have a lot more competition. We don't have that ability where if we have an off year, we can just shuffle the cards again and hope that something comes out again. We don't have the same type of talent pool. In fact, I would say our wingbacks are our strongest point. We look at Spinazzola, he's been our best player of the season. On the right side, Rick Karsdorp, another Dutchman, he's been our key player on the right. Defensively, we look like we are leaking in goals. Statistically, it might look like that, but on our good day, nothing's going in. Our keeper has been doing a lot better. When Chris Smalling is unfit, it really hurts us. But when he gets back in the side, so it's like, to me, it's like a toss-up. Either we're fit and we're getting clean sheets, or there's a couple players out and we're struggling. And today we just got news that Kumbula, our Albanian 21-year-old center back, got injured. We don't know the extent. So you are right. We have been leaking in goals, but on our good day, that defense is good as any. We play that 3-5-2, and that converts into a 5-3-2 when we are looking to preserve a lead. To be honest with you, I don't really know how we are going to cope with Ajax's defense. If you look at like Anthony getting behind our wing back and taking on one of our center backs one-on-one, it's probably the worst scenario, in my opinion. I also rate Tadic very highly, so he's someone who scares me as well. But at the end of the day, I just don't think that the quality is there per player. I think Roma is just at a higher rate. If you look at Mkhitaryan, he's somebody who, I mean, Tadic doesn't hold up to him at all. If you look at like key players per player, I'm afraid if Veretout is not there. If we don't have Veretout, I think you have a shot.
No, sorry, Juan, can I?
Yeah, go ahead. I want to react as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, obviously I don't agree with the Tadic thing. I mean, he's one of our greatest players in the squad, captain. And if you look at this Roma side, in the Italian league, you mentioned, of course, we play in a small league, but in the Italian league, I didn't see Roma win any of the top games. They lost against Milan, they lost against Napoli, they lost against Inter or drew against Inter. I mean, they didn't win a single game from one of the top clubs in Italy. I think that shows that they're not really capable of playing against top teams who can play pressure football, because that's where Ajax quality stands for: playing with pressure, playing on the wings. And Karsdorp, okay, Spinazzola, great player, attacking wise. Defensive wise, I think they lack a lot of quality. If you look at the players that are playing in Roma, especially in the starting lineup, these are all bench players at other clubs. Pedro, El Shaarawy were all bench players. Karsdorp didn't even make it at Feyenoord when he was on loan. Spinazzola at Chelsea was a bench player. Mkhitaryan, one of the greatest players you mentioned, was also a bench player at United and at Arsenal. So I'm not scared of the team at all. And I think they concede a lot of goals if we would pressure them when they try to build up. And I think that's their weakness, and that's where we stand for. That's our strength. So the weakness against our strength, I think that will make us, especially with our speedy wingers, I think we can definitely make it, especially in the first game when we play at home.
Wayne, can you just react quickly on this one? Because I want to ask you a couple of questions as well.
I think if you underrate the squad and call them bench players like that, then you're probably missing the picture here. And if the real Ajax team feels the same way that you do about Roma right now, then you're going to get hit.
So, Wayne, look, for the viewers, right? Because most of the viewers that look at us or watch our channel, they're all Ajax fans. So tell us a little bit more about Roma, and especially also about the new coach. He's been now with you guys this is the second season, if I'm not mistaken. Paulo Fonseca.
Yeah, Fonseca is a coach who likes to play the 3-5-2 at Roma. In Shakhtar, he played a 4-2-3-1 with hanging wing back. So he would push them way up, kind of that balancing, right? One goes up, one goes back. And when you look at this squad, I don't agree with the fact that a lot of these guys are bench players. Mkhitaryan was on the bench at United, but at the same time, a lot of people wondered why. Spinazzola is somebody who tried to work his way in at Juventus, and he was young at that point. And once he was transitioned from a left back to a left wing back, his career changed entirely. He's become one of Roma's focal points. Once again, I just mentioned that the defense is sometimes shaky, sometimes really good. And that's just the reality of an immature team. The team is young. We have a bunch of 20 to 23-year-olds. Most of our best players are in that age range. And what comes along with that is, of course, the lack of winning the big games, right? Against Napoli, they took care of us this year. Juventus, we outplayed. Milan, we outplayed for about half the game both times we played them, but then they end up getting the better of us. Those are just signs of immaturity. And if this team stays together, very much like Ajax, then they can achieve something great. Italy is a place where, well, I should say Rome is a place where the club does not get always supported by the local media. There's so much division. There's so much food being thrown at this team all the time. And it's unfair what I think Roma has to live with domestically. It's a shame that the city is so harsh and there's always so much drama. We've been trying to build the stadium for 10 years. It's just been it's been canceled out. So we're looking to reset. I don't know where the next stadium is going to be. But Fonseca has, I think, punched at the weight of the squad. Are we an excellent, amazing squad? No, we would be in the Champions League if that was the case. But we are a growing squad, I think, for sure. One that's starting to go into not their prime, but right before it, where you're going to see, I think, glimpses of what this team really can do. Because on their day, they put in some really amazing goals. But to do those goals and to make exactly what your coach wants of you, you need depth. And that's one thing that Roma has struggled with. So I think that if Ajax is going to get the better of Roma, it's going to be on a day where we're not starting our best players. Case in point, our prodigy Zaniolo has been out for about 2 years. So,
wow.
Yeah,
So, Wayne, listen, I wanna ask you another question, right, about what you're saying. About the young players that you have, most of those young promising players, are these the players that play usually or mostly at the back?
You would look at Kumbula, Mancini, who's about 23 or 24, Ibanez. So it's it is a young, a green line in the back there. But then again, in midfield, we have Villar, who has just scored for Spain in the U21s. He was playing for them, and he's looking like a really, really good player. In the attack, we could use a little bit more youth, but then again, there's Zaniolo when he gets back, and I think this summer is going to be very much about clearing out players and getting younger guys in. So from the back, we look like we're doing pretty good youth-wise, but there's a lot of work to be done. We do have a new owner, and I think he's going to keep instilling this belief of youth and not just youth, but strong players who can make a difference in the next 3 to 5 years.
Sabi, would you like to add something?
No, I mean I agree with him. He mentions that this is still an immature team with talent, with youth. So I can see Rome being one of the big clubs in the upcoming years. Not at this moment, especially with the new style of football, the formation that they play. I think they started to play with this formation last year at the end, last games, and then this season. It's the type of football that Fonseca likes to play. You can compare it a bit with Atalanta, with a 3-5-2 formation. While Atalanta is playing this system for many years, Roma just started with this system. So it takes time to adapt, to automate the whole system with the players that they have in hand. But so that is why I think they're not ready yet. But in the upcoming years, they could be definitely one of the big clubs. And next to that, just to add, Roma is still competing for the top 4 place, and so there's a bit of pressure on Roma to qualify for the Champions League for next season. That might bring some pressure on them because there are some tough games coming up. While Ajax is basically cruising to the to winning the league because of their terrific form since January, and that might help them. And there's a way different team. Ajax is a way different team in comparison with before the winter break. We got Alvarez in the team, but Martinez, who is quite in form. We got Tadic, who plays in the center instead of left wing. That's a huge difference in the Europa League. And what I think in the next game against Roma is that we play with Blind and Gravenberg in midfield and Alvarez in the center next to Martinez, especially to stop Jacob if he would be playing. Uh, he's a tall guy, and I think he's one of the key players, even though he's quite old. He's one of the key players to hold the ball. He tries to drop a lot in order to create space at the back for the upcoming midfielders or wingers, and that could make them dangerous if Ajax doesn't really focus on that aspect. And the other player that I do like from Roma is Vertu. He's one of the let's say playmaker from midfield who tries to build up the play. But I think he's injured right now. I'm not sure. Still hesitating whether he's able to play against Ajax. But it would be a huge blow for them if he wouldn't play. I've seen that Cristante is playing in the center of defense lately. He's a midfielder, so they're trying to do like the Frankie de Jong part at Barcelona, trying to build up from the back. But I think if we pressure them, we would definitely get a huge chance to win the game.
Let me add something on the pressuring, right? Because again, honestly, also to my viewers, I don't know much about Roma, but I have been, after we drew Roma, I have been looking a little bit on how they play, also looking at how Fonseca wants the team to play. And I saw also a couple of things that really, I was surprised how good Roma is on the ball and how they try to play, like find a person and not playing long balls. I don't know. That's my question also to you, Wayne. I mean, Zeko, of course, is a target man, a target kind of player. But you guys don't need him to play from the back, right? To build up your play. You guys can just play from the wings and build up an attack. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would say in years past, it was much more crucial that the ball was passed to Xhaka and he would lay it off. But you make a great point. In this season, we've seen a lot more passing out of the back, building up. That's one thing they actually have really added now that I think about it, so that they can hit you pretty much any different way. Yeah. It depends, like, if Roma wants to turn on or not. It sounds crazy, but at times this team, the one thing that Ajax will probably recognize, because they're a good team, is that Roma will turn off and then Ajax will turn on. And then out of nowhere, Roma can hit you on the counter. And that's where a player like Veretout kicks in, because that guy gets the ball and he just looks to go forward immediately. And he's very fast. He's not really attainable. If you're trying to defend him on Roma's counterattack, it's not going to happen. And that's, I think, the biggest threat sometimes for a team psychologically is not recognizing when Roma wants to play, because that goal can happen very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. So listen, more questions. I have a lot of questions actually about you. So actually you had to start with this one. How did you become a Roma fan in the first place? Because you live in Jersey, right? You live in the US.
Yeah, I grew up in New York and New Jersey, and my background is Italian. My family came over during like the big diaspora when many Italians left from southern Italy in the early 1900s. And I grew up kind of like to the beat of my own drum. I didn't grow up with my father, so I didn't have like a favorite team. The one thing that I did do is my mom put me in football at the age of 4. And by the time I was around 10 or 11, I started to recognize teams. I would watch Rai even from like the age of 5, which was the Italian network. And I would watch the games not really knowing who they were. But by the time I got to like 10 or 11, I noticed that Roma had this player called Totti, and I loved him at the World Cup. And I started to look, and I looked at this club team. I was like, oh, he plays for Roma. And then I saw what Rome looked like in the stadium. And it was just like immediate. I was like, well, this is my team, obviously. The fans that I never saw from an American perspective. We don't have fans like that. There's no flares. There's no choreography. So when, as a very impressionable 10 and 11-year-old, I look at that, I'm like, I'm hooked. It was like a drug. I was like, I can't get away from this. This is my life now. And that's pretty much how it happened.
Awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. Really, those stories are really nice to hear always. Listen, another question that I have that I want to ask you about Roma is when you said that you actually think currently with the form and looking at Roma, also maybe a little bit biased. We're biased as well. Let's be honest. You think you're favorites against Ajax, right?
Hmm.
Slightly favored, maybe.
I think player for player, we are. I think, given the circumstances, that Ajax has no pressure. Roma has all the pressure of the world on them right now. That there is a mental edge that Ajax has. And I don't think the bookmakers are going to make this as clear as we might have imagined Italian heavyweight versus second-rate Dutch league, whatever they want to say. I don't think it's that clear cut.
And I have another question. How do other Roma fans think about the draw? Did you pick up some things from that?
I found that many of them were annoyed, were pissed off, and then others were like me, who were like, "Yeah, let's make it a good game." I think we were happy that Ajax plays our way and they want to play football and they don't want to just sit back. I think that was a big part of the reaction. Was definitely that Ajax wants to come to play, and we will enjoy that, because if a team just sits back and wants to hit us on the counter, then it's anyone's guess. But at least we'll know who's the better team at the end of this match. These two legs, I think, for sure.
I was surprised, by the way, looking also at the way the Roma plays, coming back to the build-up play. Even the goalkeeper of Roma has a very integral part in the build-up play. He can play. Actually, that's what we always do at Ajax. You can play with an extra goalkeeper. The goalkeeper gets the ball, and he actually acts as the build-up guy as well. So instead of thinking you have three guys at the back, the goalkeeper is also an extra additional player. Am I correct about this?
Yeah. Pau Lopez gets into it a lot. He's a modern Spanish keeper, and he definitely looks to initiate the attack more often than not. One reason for that in Italy is because a lot of the defensive lines, they will give us way too much space, and it forces Roma to get drawn in, and therefore our defensive line goes more, getting the keeper a little bit more up. So I think we do have elements of total Dutch football within us, but that I think is part of the modern game. And Fonseca is absolutely a modern Portuguese coach.
Yeah. Sabi, can I ask one more question before you go?
Do it.
Thanks. Listen, just the most important thing I want to know as well from your perspective, which of these players you think Ajax have to be very cautious about? Okay, this player is really our most important player, or players, maybe.
Mkhitaryan is one of the most talented players I've ever seen for this Roma team. He's ridiculous. That guy wants to play. There's so many funny things I learned about him. Like, he grew up partly in Brazil, and you can see it in his play. Where else did he play? It was Shakhtar, of course. So he's got that Brazilian Shakhtar dynamic going on too. And I would say Pellegrini is a really good player. He's sometimes not loved in the same way that Totti and De Rossi were, because they were true bandiere, like flagship captains. Pellegrini is not the same mold, but at the same time, he's not a problem at all for Roma. It's that he gets that pressure of living up to expectations of captains who have come through Rome, but he's still a very good player in his own right. Also watch VR. I think you're really going to like him. Gonzalo VR. He's a really talented young midfielder.
Great. Sabi, do you want to share something at this point?
No, I think we can agree with what Wayne stated. There's some several players who need some constant checking on how they're quite dangerous. Of course, the wing backs, we should not concede them a lot of space because attacking wise, that's their strength. But we need to focus mainly on the player who is building up the play from the back within Roma. If we contain that position, if we contain that player, I think we can stop the majority of their starting attack, and that can be very crucial, because if we can stop that, they are obliged to play the long ball, and that's where we need to win over the ball, especially the second ball. If Zeko would be able to win the headers, second balls, those are the balls that we should win. Otherwise, we might get in trouble. We could already see that on the Tottenham game several years ago when Lorente came in, because it's dangerous. So we
Why
need to
did
make
you?
sure.
Why did you have to go there?
I have to go there because we need to stand with both feet on the ground. We need to make sure that we don't overcome this again. And so it's important to make sure that we stop the build up. And if there would be a build up with long balls, we need to win the second balls. And if that would be the case, I don't see a real big problem for Ajax.
Listen, I just want to add one more thing and ask Wayne this as well. So Ajax, looking at Ajax, we played our previous 2 games, in the knockoff stages. We played against Lille and we played against Young Boys. Those 2 teams, they played similar style. They were very defensive and looking to beat us on the counter. And this is something that we, as Ajax, have been struggling with for years. But I was really impressed, honestly, and a lot of Ajax fans were impressed how steady and stable we were defensively as well, and how we could overcome those 2 games. I was also surprised, not knowing anything about Roma, that you guys won the last game against Shakhtar so easily. In the score, at least the scoreline reflected an easy win. Looking at the aggregate, how did you experience those 2 games? Was it as you expected, or was it better than you expected?
It was much better than expected. We thought Shakhtar was gonna possibly beat us, and then over the 2 legs, Roma just took care of them very easily. I was very surprised because one of my favorite players internationally plays for Shakhtar, Marcos Antonio, and I was like, that kid's gonna kill us, but he didn't do anything. I don't even think he started. And there's other players like Tete who are very good wingers, very much like Anthony. He's a little bit bigger, taller, lankier. But yeah, I was really surprised by the Europa League form. I was like, where'd that come from? Like, put that out every day.
So did that also fueled a little bit more confidence into you going into the Ajax game now?
No.
All right. Cool. All right. So listen,
Ajax is a different beast. They're well coached. Not that Shakhtar isn't, but I know what I'm getting with Ajax, and I know that they have a lot of pride, and they're not going to roll over easily.
True. Listen, last question for both of you, because we're gonna finish this session. I want a score prediction from both of you, both legs. So Wayne, you can start.
2-1 and 1-1. 2-1 in Rome, 1-1 in Amsterdam.
All right, Sahbi?
2-0 in Amsterdam, first leg, second leg, 1-1.
Guys, I can feel it, man. I can. You want to subscribe.